Okay, I'm Greg Scully with 501 Commons, and welcome to this session. It's Elevate Your Give Big Social Media Campaign Strategies and Tips. And we are thrilled to have you here today. We're going to get started right away. This is being recorded so you can watch it later. We'll be posting it on the GiveBIG website. Today, we are really happy to have one of our nonprofit resource directory partners with 501 Commons in to help us unpack social media for your Give Big campaign and for other efforts that you do at your nonprofit. But very specifically for Give Big this year, we're very happy to introduce all of you to Ann Greetham. She is with Alethea Digital Media. They're based here in the Pacific Northwest. And really, really happy to have Ann with us. And I'm going to turn it over to her in the interest of time because we have asked her to fill your hour up with a ton of information on social media and Give Big. So Ann, please take it away.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to present today and connect with all of you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Please, at any time, put it in the chat if the Wi-Fi is messed up or if I'm going too quickly, just let me know and I'm happy to accommodate. So here we go. Okay. All right. So, as Greg said, today we'll be talking about elevating your Give Big social media campaign, and I'm here to give you strategies and tips with my experience and education to help you get your message to the people that you want to reach. My name is Ann Greetham, and I am the lead digital marketer at Alethea Digital Media. And Alethea Digital Media is a full-service media agency that works with nonprofits, faith-based organizations, and churches, amongst other organizations, to help them get their truth and Alethea, which is what truth is what Alethea stands for, to help them get the truth of their message to their audience and beyond. We are fortunate to work with many different partners locally and nationally, and we provide video production, website services, social media management, and so much more. I myself studied communication management and was fortunate to be able to have an emphasis in public relations for nonprofits and social causes, because when I was younger, I always knew that I wanted to use my storytelling abilities for stories that really deserve to be told. I have experience in content creation, nonprofit marketing, and other industry components. I also previously worked at
It says
World
output
Vision.
is this.
So I am
really?
fortunate to have seen.
It says output device headphone. Oh,
So I'm fortunate to have seen what it looks like to work with and be a part of a large-scale nonprofit. So with that, I'll be moving on to what we'll be talking about today. Today, we will be focusing on social media, content creation and storytelling, strategy, fundraising best practices, and analytical tools. You may see the ring light in this photo, and you may even be able to make it out behind me. This is just one of many tools that we use in content creation to tell our stories well. So without further ado, let's get on with it. And most of you, I'm sure, are already aware of the impact that social media has for nonprofits, but I still put this statistic in here because I found it very interesting. It says that only 20% of nonprofits feel extremely confident that they're actually maximizing their social media potential, which means a lot of us probably feel like there's more that we could be doing if only we had more time, more energy, more resources, and more expertise. It can feel very intimidating to tackle social media. And I know that a lot of people feel very aware that it's not really something you can just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. It really is a time today where we need to be strategic with what we're putting on our social media so it can advance our missions. Social media today is a very saturated market. It's not like 10 years ago where many people weren't on it or weren't utilizing it to its full capacity. Today, most people and places, organizations are on social media. So there are a lot of different voices and a lot of different messages that are battling to be on your feed. With that, this is why there has been a recent call from people, especially younger generations, to see authenticity from organizations and brands, and people too. We want people to be able to build relationship with you and your mission, and to really feel like they have and understand the heart for what you're trying to communicate. We want to build an audience that not only likes and shares your posts, but actually engages with what you do. And if you stopped them on the street, they would be able to explain to you what your organization does. So to start off, some of the social media basics we'll be touching on are the platforms that are best to be on. Facebook and Instagram are both meta apps. You may have heard about this. So they are connected, and they are, according to Greg, some of the platforms that 501 Commons has seen a lot of traction with the Give Big campaign. So these are two platforms where they've made it easier for users to put out content, engage in strategy, publish content ahead of time, run ads, and do a lot of things that other platforms are just now learning how to do. So Facebook and Instagram, we'll go more in depth on each of these, but those are the two that if you are starting from scratch, I would recommend to establish a presence on Facebook and Instagram first, and you can worry about the rest later. We'll also be touching on YouTube, Twitter or X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. So first off, we have Facebook. Facebook is probably the most popular social media platform to date. There are others that would argue otherwise, but Facebook has been around for a minute and has a wide range of users on it. As you can see, they have a broad user base spanning various demographics, so you can reach a lot of different audiences through Facebook. Right now, it does tend to be most popular among adults aged 25 to 54. And at the bottom, I'll have a message on each platform of what we consider the platform to be best for at this time. Facebook is best for general awareness campaigns, community engagement, and content sharing. This is because Facebook groups and Facebook pages are places where a lot of conversation happens. And so that is why it's a great place for community to be built, and for not only you to be posting things, but for you to be engaging back with those who comment on your content. You can have full conversations, you can live stream. There's so much you can do with Facebook. Oop, there we go. Next, with Instagram. Instagram began as primarily a photo sharing app, and while it does stick with its roots, Instagram now also hosts videos and also live streams, and they've added quite a few other capabilities as well. They are a visual platform, so they also have stories, which are photos or videos that only appear for 24 hours. Instagram is popular amongst younger demographics, particularly 18 to 34. It also has a strong female presence and a strong presence in cities like Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, those kinds of cities. Instagram is best for visual storytelling, brand building, influencer partnerships, and reaching a younger, visually oriented audience. YouTube. With over 2 billion monthly active users, YouTube again offers a very large potential audience, and a large amount of people use YouTube, with the largest age bracket being people aged 25 to 44. YouTube is a great place to host long-form landscape video content. So you may have had fundraising galas that had to be virtual during the pandemic that are hosted on YouTube. And now YouTube Shorts are rising in popularity. So instead of a landscape longer video, like you can see in this photo that I added, there are shorter portrait mode videos that are much more reminiscent of Instagram Reels and TikToks. And this is YouTube's sort of answer to the popularity of TikTok. And YouTube Shorts have been becoming very, very successful and have been gaining quite a bit of traction. So if you do decide to create or beef up your YouTube presence, Shorts are definitely a place to repurpose some of the content you may already have for Instagram or TikTok. Next, we have Twitter or X, and this one is subject to quite a bit of debate within the social media management industry because it's a little bit of a dark horse right now. It's a big question mark. We don't know exactly what's happening or what the future holds for Twitter and X. In the past, it's been known for its real-time updates, conversational nature, and ability to communicate and amplify short messages. It was previously attracting a younger audience. Now they've sort of been dropping off and moving over to TikTok, and we're seeing that 25 to 54, 44 age range be the prime age for people on Twitter and X. Just because it's a little bit more of a question mark right now with what Elon Musk has been doing with it, it doesn't mean that it's something to ignore altogether. It can be a good place to provide short updates, engage in conversation, and still attempt to reach a more tech-savvy audience. However, we do know that X is currently trying to shift to a video platform, but hasn't done that yet. So if you do start to create a strategy for X, do so with an understanding that things may change in the future. And with LinkedIn, LinkedIn may not feel like a social media platform in the same way that the others do. However, LinkedIn is a really great place for nonprofits, especially to make industry connections. And it is a place where a lot of young people are as they are learning to use LinkedIn to leverage their job search. LinkedIn is a professional networking platform that does have a lot of job seekers, but there are also quite a few young people looking for volunteer opportunities as well that turn to LinkedIn. So it's a great place to communicate a lot of your mission and message, and to be still doing some recruiting for volunteers, even if you decide to hire a content creator, a social media manager. LinkedIn is a really great place to go. TikTok. TikTok is a little bit newer on the scene, although it's been around for a couple years now and is known for its short form video content, creative challenges, and highly viral trends. TikTok is very engaging and it caters to the shorter attention spans that we're seeing with younger generations. TikTok predominantly has a young user base with a significant portion ages 16 to 24. It is a place for authentic, quick, entertaining content, influencer collaborations, brand challenges, and reaching that younger audience. TikTok can feel like it's too casual for a brand, but brands are seeing a lot of success hopping over on TikTok and showing a more authentic behind the scenes side. Even nonprofits are seeing great success in taking videos of what they're doing or creating videos about their impact and putting those on TikTok in smaller, digestible amounts. So with that, we're going to move on to creating that content that goes on all of those platforms. First of all, for any nonprofit, faith-based organization, whatever you might be connected with, you want the people creating the content to have a passion or a desire to be doing it. So my first bit of advice is to find the person or people that really like design. Even if it's just simple design, people who are excited about the idea of effectively communicating something visually are going to be the people that you want on your team. And if you're not able to find someone like that right now, we would suggest that you outsource to either an agency like us or hire someone whose sole purpose is to drive your mission and to tell your stories online. Like I said here, you don't need to be a graphic designer, but basic design skills are a must. And if budget is a limitation, there are really great free resources on YouTube, Skillshare, and other places. HubSpot Academy is a really great one to find some trainings on what some basic design principles would be that would help you create that content. Canva is our recommended software for putting together your infographics, basic videos, adding logos on things. Canva can really do anything you need it to. It can make business cards, bulletins. it can make pretty much any paper product you would find at an event. Canva really does it all. I added this image right here because Canva has a specific program called Canva for Nonprofits, where you can get Canva Pro, which has a wide variety of design capabilities for free by registering with your nonprofit status. I would really recommend that you do this if you're looking for a more approachable design software. There are other design softwares like Adobe InDesign or Illustrator, or there's even Microsoft Publisher. There are quite a few out there, but Canva is the one that we feel is the easiest to use while still having a very wide range of elements and options to use. So this is what I like to call the golden format. This is something that I've trained all our content creators on when they are constructing their content. To the right, I added a piece of content that was a video that Charity Water, a nonprofit that helps provide clean water across the globe, posted. I wasn't able to clip the full video in right here. However, I believe we can still see a lot of the elements I'm showcasing in this post. The golden format when it comes to captions for your content, no matter what platform you're on, is hook, body, call to action, or CTA, and hashtags. So we're going to start off with that. And if we look over to this Charity Water post, we can see these things. It starts out with a question, so that's the hook. And then there's a few extra pieces of information, and then a call to action. See how you can help today at the link that they provided. They didn't choose to use hashtags here, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but you can see there are hashtags in a comment right below. Something else that stands out about this post is that the hook is also on the visual piece as well. So it says on the video, did you know more people own a cell phone than have access to a toilet, which is a really jaw-dropping statistic that causes people to stop in their tracks and consider that. So they may not have chosen to use hashtags here because hashtags are keyword searches and they may not have outlined any specific hashtags for this social strategy. There are differing views on whether or not hashtags still work. We at Alethea Digital Media still recommend the use of hashtags, but usually only 3 to 5 hashtags per post. What hashtags do are they are meta tags, which I know sounds like a out of this world word, but a meta tag is a back-end keyword similar to Google that meta apps like Facebook and Instagram use to sort your content to the people that want to see it. So we still recommend the use of some hashtags until Meta completely eliminates them from their algorithm. Some other things I added onto this slide under the other colon are alt tags, partner and community tags, audio, location, and shop links. So alt tags or alt text is offering an explanation of what the visual is for those who are not able to see the visuals across social media. This can also serve as a good strategy for social media because it again provides keywords for the algorithms that these social media platforms have to push your content in front of the people that are looking for it. Partner and community tags mean that if you are collaborating with someone, you've tagged them in that post so that they can then reshare it to their audience, and then you are growing your reach of who will see this post. Audio. Right now, trending audio is a really big thing, and you can attach audio within your video, or you can bring a video with audio on your own into an app and put another trending audio on top of it. As you can see on this post on the right, under Charity Water with the check mark, it says original audio, which means that they did not do this. But if they were to have chosen what is considered a trending audio that Instagram will tell you which ones are trending, they may have been able to reach more people because more people are wanting to listen to that audio. So it brings it to their For You page. I've also added location. Sometimes if you are tagging in a certain location, people that Instagram knows live in that location are more likely to see your posts. So these are all just other options for things you can add if you are really targeting a specific group of people or a specific place. The last thing may not be applicable to your organization, but if you have any products that you're selling, there is an option to add a shop link to your posts in TikTok, Facebook, Meta, and possibly others that will take them directly to the product that you may be promoting in your content. So those other things may feel like too much. So for right now, the golden format is the main thing you want to stick to. We encourage you to keep it simple, but do what you can to optimize your content for the platform it's on. So here we're going to talk about the nonprofit advantage. Luckily, you do have an advantage as a nonprofit with a lot of these social media platforms. They recognize that you are going to use their platforms to get your message out there, so they have provided some tools and resources for you. You will usually need to register your accounts with your nonprofit status, so you'll need to find tax forms or other things that prove that status. As you can see, Facebook and Instagram have nonprofit fundraising tools that you can find with a quick Google search. There's a TikTok for Good program, which provides a lot of business analytics and hashtag recommendations and other things like that that you may normally have to pay for or that you would normally only get as a business account. YouTube has a nonprofit partner program that has special optimization features that you can explore once you sign up, and they'll give you recommendations for your content as well. And there are other Pinterest Academy courses, and while Pinterest isn't popular for nonprofits, they'll still help you understand how to optimize your content and use good keywords, so we still recommend those courses. All of these are easy to find with a Google search, and as Greg mentioned, this is recorded, so feel free to come back and look for all of these again. Now we're going to move on to crafting your social media strategy with the content that you've made. These are what I call the ABCs of social media marketing. These are the three things that you're trying to accomplish. They are awareness, brand loyalty, and community. Sort of like a very simplified marketing funnel. You want to get people interested, you want to convince them about you and what you're doing, and you want to get them engaged. You want them to be commenting, you want them to be clicking, you want them to be going to your profile to see and find out more about you. Here we have a general social media strategy. Sorry, I got to move things around, can't see my own slide deck. There we go. The points we have here are to help you create your strategy from beginning to end. The first thing you want to do is understand. So you'll need to sit down either with your team or on your own and go through who your target audience is. Maybe for your organization overall, or possibly for one specific campaign. This layout can apply to a specific campaign like GiveBIG, or it can apply to your overall social media presence. So you want to understand who your target audience is, their interests, preferences, and pain points. Then from there, you can tailor your content to resonate with them. Something that we do a lot in our agency is to build personas. We usually call them buyer personas, but for nonprofits, they're just audience personas, but they're people who would be coming to your content to get value from it. Whether they are a donor or they're someone who might benefit from your program, we try to establish 4 or 5 different personas, and we'll give them names, we'll give them motivations, so that when we put ourselves in their shoes and we look at our content, we can ask, are these content pieces answering the questions that these people would have? It can be kind of tricky to think about what people other than yourself would be looking for. So this is a great opportunity to engage with whatever community you might have and go to them and ask, what are their questions? What are they looking for? What do they need? And or what do they want to know before they donate? So I'd really encourage you to rely on whatever resources and people you have around you in this step. We would not recommend doing this step fully on your own. Definitely bring in other people to take a look at it and make sure you're on the right track. After you have those things ironed out, you're going to move on to the plan stage, which is where you will create two things that are essential to our operations here, which are content categories and a content calendar. I'll show a little bit of an example of this later. But content categories really build off of your audience personas. So we, for our clients, have 5 content categories for each one. And for a nonprofit client, those categories might be mission and vision. They might be impact. They might be get to know our staff or team. So there are different categories that your content is going to hit throughout the month. You want to hit mission and vision a couple times. You want to hit our impact a couple times. You might want to post a couple behind the scenes posts so you can create that authenticity, that rapport with your audience so they feel like they know you and they know what you are trying to accomplish. I see some questions coming in the chat and I would love to answer those at the end. I'm really excited about that. Our next thing is the content calendar. So once you have your 5 categories, usually what we will do at Alethea is create a couple example posts that fit within those categories and send them over to our clients for an initial review so they can tell us if we are going in the right direction. Once we've done that, we will create a monthly content calendar. This begins by drafting a few ideas for each content category and then placing them throughout the calendar based on balance or when the client wants certain things to go out. If you're doing this for your own organization, you have a lot of freedom here. If you know that you have the Give Big campaign coming up on May 7th and 8th, you might want something to go out a few weeks before in April that promotes that. And you might even want that to go out a couple times or a couple different ways. So you can plan a couple months ahead of time for some things to have a more cohesive plan so you're not scrambling last minute. Content calendars are something that really help us so that multiple people who are working on content, which may be the case for you, all know when things are supposed to go out so they can work on them with plenty of time to get them done and done well. Once you've done that, then you start to build the content. You'll start creating a bank of photos, videos, graphic templates that you'll want to use over time. We do recommend balancing templates with organic content because your content should be cohesive, but it should not all look the same. Content calendars can really help with this too. If you've created all the visuals for a certain month, you can play around with them to make sure they will look good on your feed. It won't be too crowded, too plain, all of those things. After that, once you've built your content, you've put it all on the calendar and it starts to go out, then you can start looking at the numbers that all of these social media platforms will return to see what's working and what you can improve. We'll touch more on this later. Lastly, with those analytics, you can refine, you can do different tests, you can adjust and experiment while tracking the impact that it has on your numbers, community, and overall mission and goals. So here are a few examples of what I was talking about. Content categories are also called content pillars by some. Categories seems a little bit more obvious to me, so that's what we stick with. On the left here, you'll see this content pillar is promotional, educational, inspirational, entertaining, and engaging. So this is a little bit more vague. This could apply to a lot of different organizations, but you will probably want to get a little bit more specific, but this is a good starting place. On the right here, this is a sample content calendar in one of our favorite workspaces, which is called Plannable. Plannable is not necessary to have a great online presence. However, for us, since we have multiple clients, we automate all of our posting so that I don't have to be on my phone all weekend, no work-life balance for me. I can set things to go out at a certain time, then go home, make dinner, breathe easy, that things are posting for my clients. Even if you don't need automated posting, a content calendar like this is still a great idea so you know when you want to put things out and you see what it looks like all together. Here you can see it's a month-to-month layout, and up at the top, I know it's a little small, but there are different icons for all the different platforms. because some of your content, like for Twitter, has a smaller character count. So you'll have to shorten your caption for that one. So a lot of software like Planable allows you to optimize your content for each platform so it doesn't look the exact same. Now we're really going to get into some strategy behind your content creation. The very first thing you want to do, that even if you do most of the other things, this thing has to happen for your content to land, and that is to create a compelling narrative. It really has to have a story. We understand that there is a place for very informative infographic content, but even in the promotion of this webinar, we were telling a story. If you have this problem, come to this webinar so we can solve it because we care. That's a story. So all of your content, even if it's beautifully designed, very visually pleasing, it needs to have a clearly followable story for the people to follow. So to craft a compelling narrative, you want to have a captivating story with elements like emotion, conflict, and resolution. It doesn't always have to follow the exact storytelling mountain, but often we find our content has the most success when we present a pain point and solve it. Next, you want to showcase your impact with those stories. We really recommend sharing real life stories and testimonials from people who have benefited from your organization or people who work in your organization and have a true passion for what they do. People always want to hear from people. So this is a really successful piece of content that can be really simple to create. Of course, you can go with a very highly produced video, but you don't always need that. You just need a real story that's communicated clearly and effectively. Third, you want to utilize that visual content. A lot of nonprofits, especially, I find, can get very stuck in graphics because they have a lot to talk about, a lot to promote, but people start to scroll past pretty quickly. They don't want to see another graphic. They don't want to see more words, but they do want to watch something. Video content skyrockets far beyond static images and infographics. So video content is the way to go. Even if you are trying to promote something, video is a great way to do that. Some other tips we have are to be authentic and transparent. The reason we've seen a big call for transparency from Gen Z and Gen Alpha is because brands were able to get to a very heavily produced place, and it felt very detached from the audience that they were trying to engage with. Some larger global nonprofits have also fallen into this from time to time, where they have so much great, well-produced content, but it stops feeling close because people stop understanding how what they have or what they can do connects to what the nonprofit is doing. You also want to be very, very purposeful to include a clear call to action. If you are low on characters, like with a platform like Twitter, this is the most important thing to have. You want to be very clear about what you want your users to do for you, whether you want them to like, to follow, to share a link, to donate. It needs to be specific, actionable, and easy to do. You don't want to bury what you want them to do 5 clicks away. Usually the golden number is 3 clicks or less. There are platforms like Instagram where you can't embed a link in a caption. So with those kinds of platforms, you do have to say, the link is in our bio, or comment and we'll message you the link. But with those cases, it needs to be the first link that shows up in the bio, or it needs to be at the top of your link tree. It needs to be as easy for people as possible because they do get confused or they get lazy. So we want to adapt to the platforms that we're posting content on. Speaking of, my next point is to optimize for different platforms. So again, it is really key to be able to chop up your video so that it's short enough for Instagram, short enough for a YouTube short, or long enough for a longer TikTok video. Because right now, 3-minute videos are doing best on TikTok, but YouTube Shorts will only allow you to post 60 seconds. So how can you use the same video, but chop it up differently? So even if the same person sees it in 2 different places, it's almost like 2 different pieces of content. Another point here is consistency. Consistency is key, and you'll see that on all ends of content strategy. Even that content calendar provides that consistency. So you are posting a couple times a week and people know when they can expect to see things from you. And the algorithm knows that it can consistently push out content from you. Maintaining a consistent brand voice and style across your content is very important, so it's recognizable when it comes across someone's feed. And staying on top of that posting schedule keeps people engaged and it keeps them connected with what you're doing and what progress you've made. Now we're going to move on to fundraising best practices, which is very fitting for this Give Big campaign. Social media is definitely one of the best ways for today's nonprofits to be able to reach their goals. So some first points we're going to hit are ideal practices. I did find another statistic that told me that only 55% of people, or that over 55% of people who learn about an organization on social media end up taking action in some way. This is far higher than paper mail. And I know a lot about this actually, because during my time at World Vision, I initially started in the print marketing department. And World Vision is still sending a lot of print marketing materials, which is great. There are a lot of people who still respond to those, but we found that we got much faster and higher responses from online sponsorship drives than from sending out mail to get people to sponsor children. And we got much quicker responses for Christmas gifts or Easter gifts or all these different things through our social media campaigns. Even though I spent a couple years of my life just folding things over and over again for the mail. Definitely still worth it, but the numbers were undeniable. So for something like Give Big, you do want to create a specific campaign. So that's when those audience personas come back in and you're thinking about who you are really trying to target to donate to your nonprofit during this time. Who are the people that you're looking for? Is it the people who are redoing their budget for spring cleaning? Is it the people who are fresh off tax season and they're excited to give? There's so many different people that you could be looking for, but it's important to take the time to sit down and ideate with your team of how you're specifically going to reach them and what you're going to do. Again, I'm bringing back the point to focus on visual storytelling. If you don't normally do a lot of videos, Give Big is the time to do that. You want people who are telling the story of your organization to move people to give, whether emotionally or simply using numbers that showcase the impact that you've had. Along with that, you'll see the next point is balance showing and telling your audience about the impact of your organization and the impact of their donation. On the right, I used a graphic from World Vision that uses a photo, so it still tells that story and touches the heartstrings, but also uses a huge number that's clearly visually highlighted about the amount of children they rehabbed from malnutrition using the foods that were found locally and that were nutritious. So that already tells a very clear story and shares impact. Time-limited content on Facebook and Instagram like stories is also very popular. So if you usually don't have the time or don't feel like it's worth it to sit back at your desk and get on Instagram stories, this would be a great opportunity to break out of the norm and do that for the duration of the Give Big campaign, to get on those stories and give them small pieces of information that is easily digestible. And it has that added benefit of implying urgency. It's not going to be on there for long. There might be some really interesting special deal or interesting special point that they should watch right now. Another great practice during this time is to collaborate with other organizations. That could look very different depending on your organization. But if you are able to partner with a community partner to increase your impact during this time or double or match your donations, this is a great time to do that. That will also increase your reach because you'll be able to share each other's content across your different platforms and create a larger community. Lastly, on this slide, this is a really big one. I'd invite you to consider paid reach and boosting posts because this can be a great test for your content and your specific strategy for the Give Big campaign or beyond. If you're unfamiliar with what this means, paid reach or boosted posts are something that primarily Facebook and Instagram offer, but it's also available on other platforms where they will prompt you to say, put in $5 and they'll push your post out to 10,000 more people. And this might seem like a little bit of it might seem like it may not deliver many results, but you could be surprised. This is a great way to test the efficacy of your content. If you boost something for, say, 2 days for $10, they may not even use your full budget as they're pushing it out to their algorithm. If it performs well and they use your full budget, then you know that that's a great piece of content and you should create more like it or even put in more money to that content to develop it further to reach more people. The other thing that we recommend, especially with Facebook, is to create a fundraising challenge. These are campaigns that really encourage people to participate and share. We have some examples up here like matching challenges, peer-to-peer fundraising campaigns, or themed events. This works really well for especially timed campaigns like Give Big, having people competing against each other to see how much they've donated or see how much you've raised against another nonprofit. These can be really fun ways to get people involved and to get them rooting for you and your team. For fundraising, engaging with your audience and online community is always going to be crucial year-round. However, again, this is an opportunity where if you've noticed that you haven't been able to respond to comments very quickly or respond to Facebook messages or Instagram DMs, this is a great time to delegate that task to someone or to take that on yourself during this campaign and really connect with people and make sure that they have answers to the questions that they're asking. To show a push of intention to connect is really huge during these smaller campaigns. And lastly, again, make it easy, have buttons to send a message or create a reminder to donate or to take them directly to the donate page. As you can see on the right here, there are donate buttons that Facebook and Instagram will allow you to add on to a lot of your content. It's pretty easy to do. Again, a quick Google search will help you do that. But also, that's a great question for later if you need more help on how to do that. Okay, and here we are specifically highlighting some tips and tricks for the Give Big campaign this year. 501 Commons has been so awesome to create a lot of guides and kits for you. Here are some ways that you can really use what they've given you to elevate your campaign. Specifically, we encourage you to produce messages that tell your organization's story in a new way, a fresh way. We do something at Alethea called a brand story video that is usually the first video you see on an organization's website or it's pinned on their social media. If you don't have that or if it's out of date, this is a great time to make that content again, to freshen it up and to make it really exciting and accessible to your audience. This is a time to encourage your followers to engage if that's something you have not been doing as much, or if you have just been encouraging them to donate. You could also create posts that invite them to help in a different way by liking, sharing, and helping spread your message. We encourage you to use hashtag GiveBig on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere that your organization is. And recently, they created templates for you to use on social media as well. I'm hoping that my link to those templates will work. Yes, it will. All right, so this is the page on the 501 Commons website about the tools and resources for this campaign. So you can see there's quite a few. The campaign guide and messaging kit are both two that I already looked through and found a lot of great ideas in there, especially the messaging kit. If you're really having a hard time coming up with that content of what to say or share during this time, this messaging kit is really going to help you out. Down here, you'll find this year's logos, you'll find the toolkit for fundraisers, and right here are new social media templates that they've created for you to use during GiveBIG. So as the instructions say, it's pretty simple. All you need to do is click Choose Template. I'm actually going to go through this process right now so you can see what it looks like. These are Canva templates. But don't let that intimidate you. All you need to do is create a free Canva account to be able to open these up. I should be already logged into mine. So it'll show up like this. All you do is click Use Template for New Design. And here you are. You can plug your photo in right here. And then you can share, download, and then it will go exactly where you want it to go on your computer. So those templates are a really great tool that I would really recommend using if you don't have a lot of content created for this already. These templates will really help make your messaging clear. They will help your content stand out during this time, and they're easily recognizable, and they will probably be easy to share by other people across platforms who are also participating in GiveBIG. As we see, they have a lot of resources, and so we also encourage you to follow and engage with GiveBIG themselves on social media so that you can share content back and forth. And of course, include a link to your specific donation page and add those donate buttons to your content. As I said down here at the bottom of this slide, we do encourage you to promote early, but avoid exact repetition of visuals, captions, and timing. Try to post at different times of the day, utilize different media types like photos, graphics, videos, even a live stream or an Instagram story. Try to hit a few different mediums so that you can see numerically what worked the best, so you know for next year. We also recommend to use those different templates to mix it up, to not stick with one, but to use a few. And now we're going to move into analytics, which is always a big question for a lot of our clients. How do we know it's working? How do I quantify if social media is worth it? And so I'm going to tell you how you can do that. Analytics are super important. Over on the right, this is a screenshot from what analytics on TikTok look like. They're usually presented in the media platforms themselves, but there are software programs that you can use that are paid that will be able to dive deeper into your content and get you more information. So if you're feeling like what you see on the platforms is not enough, I have some recommendations of software you can use. However, even the analytics on the platforms themselves can help you quite a bit with what to do with it. The reason analytics are important is because they help you trend spot, which is exactly what it sounds like, identifying different trends with your content, what's doing well and what's not, so you know what you can put out more of and what needs to be reworked a little bit. Second point that analytics are really important for are brand sentiment. This is very important, especially during a campaign like this. It's important to be able to understand how your brand is perceived. And this may feel hard to discover, but what you need to do to find this is do some social listening. You can see if your followers have gone up or down. You can search your own organization online to see what people are saying. You can search it on Facebook to see if you've been mentioned anywhere, if there have been comments anywhere, if you've been tagged. A lot of the time, it's easy for people who are not able to spend a lot of time on their social media platforms to miss comments or to miss tagged posts. And then the people who feel like they stuck their neck out or took the time to write a message about you, they feel unacknowledged, and they're unlikely to do that again for you or engage with your content much in the future. This is important on social media and beyond. If you have Google reviews that are not responded to, even if they're from 8 years ago, we really encourage you to go ahead and respond to those and to continue engaging with any feedback that you've been given. This will really help your brand sentiment. The next thing is perceived value, which is similar to brand sentiment, but is specific on what you provide and what people's idea is that you do. For a nonprofit like World Vision, when I told people that I worked for them, people had a lot of different ideas about who we were, including an eye care company. So I would get health discounts at coffee shops every so often, and I didn't even realize that that's why I got it until after. So it is important to make sure that who you are and what you do is very clear. And you're going to want to do this by, again, that social listening, looking at comments, looking at reviews, and sharing your content into different Facebook groups that are connected to what you're doing, and making it very clear in the content that you make and you post who you are and how you live out your mission. So it's not just this is our mission, but it's this is how we're living out our mission. This is how we do what we say we do. And this is the impact that comes from it. Next, analytics help you set social media goals, which go far beyond, oh, we want 10,000 followers by Wednesday, which sounds amazing. But a social media goal is usually something closer to, we want to see our engagement rate go up X%, or we'd like to see our follower count go up X% or X amount, and we'd like to see people tag us more. You can make very numeric, concrete goals, or you can make larger general goals. It's really up to you. But the most important thing is that they are SMART goals, which is that whole specific, measurable, achievable. You guys have all heard that. Yes, but these numbers can help you guide your goal setting to see what you're close to, what might need more effort into it. And lastly, these numbers can prove your return on investment, or ROI, especially if you've been engaging in paid reach or boosting posts. They will definitely tell you how many more interactions or impressions your post got after you boosted it. And that's huge. That's how you know if that content was worth boosting or not. And if you're having trouble discerning which numbers are good, which numbers are bad, calling over other people to take a look, calling up your local Alethea digital media agency is always a great idea. There are definitely some Google resources and people that you can turn to help you discern, okay, well, this looks like a pretty big peak, or this looks like it didn't actually do so well. There will also be a lot of recommendations from these platforms telling you when your followers are most active. So that's when you post. There's a lot of information available like that you can use. I may have touched on some of these earlier, but we're going to quickly go through most of what you can find on these platforms without using a third-party software to gather analytics. The first thing we're measuring is performance analysis, so how the posts themselves performed. The first thing we look at is impressions, and all an impression is that it went across someone's feed and they saw it. Even if they scrolled past it, they still saw it for a second. So impressions definitely matter, but we really want to see people actually engaging with our content, because you can have thousands of impressions, but no likes. So the next thing you'll see is reach. Reach is very similar to impressions. However, reach is how many people the algorithm pushed it out to. So for impressions, they could see your content at any time, whether they were scrolling through your profile, scrolling through your For You page. Impressions happen anywhere. Reach only happens on that feed, that main feed page. Likes, comments, shares, views, those are pretty straightforward. Clicks and sales are definitely straightforward. Next, you can look at your audience to see if it matches your audience personas or if you need to adjust them. And most platforms will tell you ages, gender, location. Sometimes tell you if they are on a phone or they're on a computer. For social media, this doesn't matter too much, But for a website especially, you want to make sure your website is optimized for phone or mobile content as well as desktop.
And you're muted. There we go.
But
You're back. Go ahead. You were paused for a second. Keep going.
oh, weird. Okay, what did I last say?
You were just finishing you were starting on the competitor analysis. Let's just go
Great.
there.
Okay, competitor analysis. This is something you will probably have to pay for through a software. And you can do some of this yourself, but it's a little bit easier to trust the numbers when they're gathered by a algorithm for you. But you can do this on your own, and you can isolate what other organizations may be similar to yours, what they're doing, and what their follower rate looks like, what their engagement rate looks like, what kind of content are they putting out, what pieces of content are people engaging with. And that can be a good measuring stick for you of some things that you could improve or imitate, or you may find that they're not doing too well with something, but you're doing really well with it. So you can leverage what you're doing well more. You'll also see paid social analysis. So this is if you've placed any paid posts or paid ads through social media, this will give you the breakdown of everything that those ads brought you and all the conversions that they made or did not make. And lastly, we have influencer analysis. Oh, I found another one down there. Got to keep moving things around. There will be influencer analysis if you've been working with influencers at all. If you haven't, this is a moot point for you right now. But if you do in the future choose to work with people in your community who have more of a following, that would be considered an influencer. So if they've created any posts for you, you can then measure the performance of those posts, those hashtags, their engagement, and decide if they're worth working with again. And lastly, brand sentiment analysis, again, doing that social listening, going even into places like Reddit, which can seem really scary, just doing a quick search to see what people have to say about you and what you're doing. Here are 3 things that you can do once you've found all of these numbers and once you've paid for your software, whatever you've done, and you've gotten your reports. So first, you want to look for those trends, patterns in your data to understand what did well and what didn't, and how it pertained to the goals that you've set. So you may have gotten a lot of likes, but you still may have not gotten a lot of clicks on the links in your bio. So even though you got a lot of likes, you may need to adjust your content to urge people to go to your bio and click the link and do what you want them to do there. So you may need to adjust those different content pieces, those posting times. If you've been posting at 8 p.m., most people are probably watching Netflix and they may not be on social media as much. Or if you're posting at 10 a.m., most people are hard at work like us and they're not looking at their phones at all. So it's really not a good time to post unless your data says otherwise. So you can kind of make those conclusions from those numbers and be able to target people better. And lastly, you do want to continuously monitor your performance. For our social media metrics, we have reports scheduled. We give quarterly reports to our clients and we review our social media reports once a month. So we can adjust the strategy on our end to see more results before the close of the quarter. And this is really helpful for us. So we know if our strategies are working, if our content categories are hitting what we need them to hit, or if we need to make some changes. Here we are at the recommended software page. We've finally gotten there. These are some of the best pieces that we've gotten. We love Sprout Social for our analytics. Google Analytics are great. It really depends on what kind of social media content you're posting, what kind of ads you're running. These are the rest of our recommendations. Planable is a big one, and you're welcome to review this list later and then do some Googling to see what you're looking for. I've finally gotten to the end. This is all of our information with Alethea Digital Media. If you're interested in working with us on a one-time project or creating a social media campaign subscription with us or anything else, we'd be really excited to talk to you and work with you. Thank you so much for your time. I'll go ahead and stop sharing.
Great. Thank you so much, and everybody, for coming today to this GiveBIG presentation about social media and how to elevate your social media, and all the tips and tricks that Anne gave us. Thank you so much to Alethea Digital Media. We'll be sending out the link to this presentation and answer some of the questions that were not answered during the session. So I'm going to turn the recording off, but we're going to continue on for a few more minutes if you're allowed to, if you can stay for a few minutes, Anne.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for coming.